hadith. It's not from the Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim. It's from Sunnah Tirmidhi. It's an authentic hadith, but it has a very interesting take. It's mentioning that what is the wise man? A wise man, when we think of wisdom, we think of someone who is aware of not just what's happening now, but based on experience and based on what's happened with others, they are acting in a way that, of course, embodies wisdom. It has more to it than the surface level. So the wise man is the one who calls himself to account. And in other words, he looks at himself and he sees, oh, what am I doing that's right? What am I doing that's wrong? Let me evaluate myself. That's what calling yourself to account is. And refraining themselves from doing evil deeds and doing good deeds, and specifically the good deeds that are going to benefit you after your death. That is to say, when you do something, you look to see not only what is its impact in this life, but what is the impact in the akhirah, in the afterlife. In contrast, the inverse of this, or the opposite of this, is the foolish person. The foolish person is the one who basically just submits to his own self. He allows himself to go down, degrades himself to what he desires, what his temptations are, and what he wants only is that Allah gives him what he desires. In other words, his focus is, I want to satisfy myself now. There is no thought of the future. There is no taking any benefit from the past. So these two examples are extremes, the wise man and the foolish man. The wise man has a future-minded outlook that's fixated on the akhirah and has control and takes into account of his current. So he looks at his current situation and he thinks, how can I benefit my akhirah? And the foolish one is the short-sighted person. They're thinking only of now. What do I want now? What do I want to do now? Let me take care of that. I'm going to do those things now. And they have no awareness or concept or planning for the future. In fact, what they do now is at the expense of their akhirah. So in other words, they're trading their akhirah for their dunya, for their current time. And they're trading their future for their now. So it's, for example, you give someone a $100 and that you say, invest this, it's going to become 1,000. And instead, what do? They spend it immediately on something that will go away. Either some candy, some food, or gambling, or they throw it away, or they waste it. So it's gone. It didn't do them anything, but except it gave them that small initial thrill, and then they're going to have regret. The wise person, basically you can imagine, the wise person is the person who's planning for the least amount of regret in the future. Whereas the foolish person is basically satisfying the now, the here and now, and they're the ones that will have regret in the future. So wisdom, you can think of it in a way, is minimizing your regret later on. Acting with wisdom minimizes your regret later on, whereas acting foolishly maximizes your regret later on. Wisdom may involve some sacrifice in the short term, but to a better payoff in the akhirah. So if you look at these people that are, for example, very, very wealthy, I'm not giving them as examples of good character, but look at them as examples of they were wise with their money. They looked and chose what to do with their money early on. Of course, as I think about it, it's not the best example because a lot of these wealthy people, they didn't become wealthy because they're wise. They became wealthy because they're unscrupulous. They don't have principles. But the point is, theoretically, if you invest your money wisely, if you spend it wisely, you don't just spend it, willy-nilly, wasting it here and there, you would benefit from having it later on. You would benefit from more. You would have invested. You would have maybe gone to college, went to education, spent it in something that will return. For example, saving money now and then, saving money over time. Like, for example, maybe you would spend now on, I'm in the middle of doing some home improvements. So spend money now on some home improvements that maybe it's a little bit upfront more and you have to sacrifice a little to get it, but to save money in the long run. For example, making your house a little bit more efficient or something like that to lower your bills. And then you pay that pays off over time. Inshallah, we're hoping that that's going to be wise for us. So the same thing with regards to our deeds. The same thing with regards to our deeds. Sacrifice some short-term enjoyment for some long-term benefit. So this is how the Prophet ﷺ described the wise man and the foolish man. If I said anything that's good, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And if I said anything bad, it's only for myself and from shaitan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with wisdom, to make us those who are wise, and to protect us from being foolish, and to protect us from the actions of the foolish people. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help all of our brothers and our sisters that are here in the US that are incarcerated unjustly, and all the people that are unjustly incarcerated. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well to free the people abroad that are also suffering and going through oppression, our Muslim brothers and sisters, and anyone, in fact, that is facing oppression. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to free them, to grant them relief, and to help them. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك واشهد ان لا اله الا انت واستغفرك واتوب اليك. جزاك